dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
We outside, okay? We outside. Let's go. What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from the Knick Of Time show, here giving you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And guess what, guys? The Knicks went into Minnesota with Julius, Randle, and Dante DiVincenzo and Anthony Edwards and all these names that don't matter to us right now, and smacked the Wolves 133-107, busting those shots into the Wolves, all right? And we're gonna talk about it because Cat did not come to play, but he did. Cat dog the Wolves, all right? Cat dog the Wolves, that's gonna be the title. Cat had 32 points, 20 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals. All right, let's go, Cat. Let's go. We have some guys. We had a Precious Achiuwa sighting since Josh Hart was not able to play today for personal reasons. Gave you 13 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists as a starter. Jalen Brunson, he had a cruising game, didn't really play too much, gave you 14 points, gave you 7 assists on the night. McBride, though, came off the bench with 16 points and shot 44% from the three-point line. And Micah Bridges came in here and got into people's heads, was trolling people, and gave you a smooth 29 points, assists, and 6 rebounds. The Knicks was passing the rock. 39 assists for the game. When you have 133 points in regulation, guys, you're doing something right. When you're having 133 points in regulation against the second best defensive team in the NBA, they were ranked number 1 defense in December, you're doing something right, all right? When you rebound, 63 rebounds to 40, Knicks, you're doing something right. Knicks did all they could, and they did it perfectly and beat the Wolves at home. You did it for Cat. Cat was all emotional. It was beautiful. It's beautiful. We're going to talk about it all right? The good, the bad, the ugly, not a lot of bad, not a lot of ugly, a lot of good to talk about. But before we talk about the intricacies of the game, I'm going to introduce you to my guy. One of the guy who wrote a brilliant article for The Guardian, the guy who just joined the Bleacher Report about 2 weeks ago, then followed that up with joining Ian Begley on the putback. Assassin, killing it out here in December. Lee Escobedo, what's going on? What's going on, Lee?
My brother Jay Ellis, I appreciate that lovely intro. It has been a great month for me. It's been a great year for me as well, both personal and professional. But listen, you can never forget where you came from. And I tell everybody, I'm loyal as hell to Jay Ellis because he gave me my first shot. I was just starting out in the NBA biz. My boys scooped me up, saw something in me, brought me on the pod. You know, I had to smooth over some rough edges at first in order to fully integrate myself. But here I am. I feel like I've never been better as a co-host, and I owe my entire NBA career really to you, brother. So I really appreciate you. This is a team win. It's a KOT win. When one of us is on, all of us is put on, and you taught us that. So I'm just taking your lead, bro. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man, definitely. I appreciate you and everything you've done for KOT and the squad over here, man. My guy Ellie Escobedo did a good job. If you missed the putback, are you dumb? Go watch that. That was crazy, right?
My guy. Appreciate you, man.
All right, let's get to it, though. Let's get to it, man. I was watching basketball porn today. That's what my eyes just engulfed everything I saw as basketball porn, because Lee, we've talked about ball movement forever. In theory, you always hear Thibs say ball movement, player movement, ball movement, player movement. And yeah, we kind of did it sometimes, and it looked good a few times in the year last season. But this season, it's like they slept with the advice. They made love to the advice, Lee. They marinated on the advice, and they took the advice. And I thoroughly believe these breaks that just happened because of the cup are a huge reason why we've taken like a huge leap defensively and offensively in these last two games. I feel like the first game we just really locked in our defense. That first big break after the Hawks, and that second big break, I think we really locked in on the offense because I don't remember seeing the ball move the way it did in my entire Knick fandom ever. It was amazing. And what made it even crazier was Jalen Brunson was on the bench when a lot of this was happening. I know Cat was well, he did well. He was setting the table in the second quarter, but the Knicks were down in the first quarter. Second quarter comes, McBride campaign comes in, and the Knicks end up scoring 41 points to 18. They go on like a 20-7 run, I believe. And it's one thing to cut hard off the ball. It's another thing when it just seemed like it just became second nature, and it was like some type of mental telepathy that was happening when guys were moving off the ball and the ball was just finding them. And there was no hesitation between all five players. It was just like some symbiotic freaking psychic Professor X type of connection I was watching during the second quarter. And I was like, holy cow. My brain was getting overloaded with joy from watching it. I could not believe what the hell I was watching. It was nuts. It was nuts. I commend Thibs and the team and Mikal who's turning it around, and even OG who and every Cat and Brunson who just bought in, and McBride who's been developing some other guy who's shooting threes, and campaign even who's playing defense and pushing the ball. It's all coming together, man. Wow. That's all I got. I'm starting with that.
Great start. I will ride that train of thought. When I became a Knicks fan in 2002, I was super excited. Didn't know anything about basketball, didn't even know about sports. So back then I was ahead of a curve. But on YouTube, I was like, Knicks. I knew that it went to the finals. I was like, Knicks, finals. And I watched that team, watched clips of that team from that run. I was like, whoa, everyone's moving the ball. Houston to Sprewell to LJ to Ward to Camby. I waited 24 years to see that again. Here it is, finally, after 2 decades of waiting. The Knicks are finally a contender. And Karl-Anthony Towns, legitimate MVP candidate this year. He is putting on performances that are unheralded in orange and blue. We got 2 MVP candidates, which is incredible. Brunson right now is the 13th highest scoring player in NBA, and Karl-Anthony Towns right behind him, 14th. Good enough for a 17-10 record. Incredible basketball being played. You cannot say that Tom Thibodeau is not an elite offensive coach as much he is an elite defensive coach, because this offense is clicking on all cylinders. And listen, man, shout out Ryan G. He taught me never get too high after a win, never get too low after a loss. Keep perspective in the foreground. And I have been. So I haven't been crashing out when the Knicks lose, because I look at trends. And as I have said on every podcast, there are 3 specific trends this season I'm looking at that can really tell me if we're going to win the game or not. Number 1, did we win the rebounding battle? 57-37, hell yes, we did. Number 2, did we shoot above 80% from the free throw line? Hell yes, we did. 13 out of 16 from the line. And number 3, did we average over 30 assists? 39 assists, which means the ball is moving, not just when Brunson is in the game, but also when Brunson is sitting, which means additional guys are moving to rock, and that's where Karl-Anthony Towns' game-changing playmaking is coming in, but also Micah Bridges leading the point of attack, initiating the offense, table setting for his teammates. Him and Cat are finding the backdoor cutters, and it's leading to really easy basketball. Easy basketball. Easy. Not isocentric, pound the air out of the ball. Not really complex offensive sets, but easy, intuitive basketball, which means everybody eats. And you don't need Jalen Brunson to go off in order to win.
Read and react is working to the 100th degree, and people are reading and reacting. And like you said, it all starts with Karl-Anthony Towns, because this is the type of game and matchup that doesn't really favor Jalen Brunson as much, because of the amount of long wings they have.
True.
That can kind of, and not to say that Jalen Brunson can't score on those guys, but typically when Jalen Brunson faces this type of length, it takes him about like 2.5 quarters to figure it out. and then by the third, fourth quarter, he can do something. To now, we can just go to Cat, and we can just cut off ball and get people open that way. And now Jalen Brunson can just, you know what? Jalen Brunson can chill, and he can just move off ball and get to the corner and get open threes like he did today. You know what I'm saying? He can get his points in other ways and just let Cat take control. So I love the way that once again Cat worked himself into the game. The Timberwolves made it a point to double team him early and often, and it worked out to our favor because it just got us going. It just got us going. And then the Knicks in the second quarter was like, oh, wait, since they're going to double, we're just going to throw the ball to Cat on every trailing transition three in the game. And he made them pay to the point where Gobert was even kind of up on him. And he was still shooting it right over Gobert's doofy, lanky 7-foot face. Like he wasn't there, and it was all enjoyable to me. I love every minute of it, man. I love every minute.
Yeah, the easy, fun basketball, no one's benefited from that more than OG Anunoby, who, before the show started, Ellis and I both agreed we prefer when Mikal Bridges is probably the second or third leading scorer, and OG is more fourth or fifth leading scorer. I think it's the offense is more suited for that. Because instead of running the offense through OG becomes the benefit of all the cuts. And no one in the NBA he's almost peerless when it comes to cuts. In fact, right now he's throwing down 51 dunks in 27 games, which is good for seventh most in the NBA. And he's scoring 1.64 points per play off of a cut, which is third best in the NBA. The Knicks themselves ranked 11th overall on cuts. So cuts, that's an easy, as long as you're moving at the ball and you're reading and reacting, instead of having a ball stopping dominant player like Julius, you have someone who's quick with the pass, instinctual like Cat and Mikal Bridges and Brunson. So that triangulation allows for OG to do a lot of easy catches and easy finishes around the rim.
Guys, we're never going to have to complain about off-ball movement ever again. Do you realize that? We've been complaining about off-ball movement and the lack thereof for years. And that era of basketball is dead. We are now in the modern era of basketball with cuts, and more cuts, man. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I can't believe what I'm watching. And you know what else I can't believe? I can't believe how disrespectful Mikal Bridges is, and I love it. I don't ever want to see Mikal respect anybody ever again. I feel like Mikal plays his best basketball when he's annoying. He's doing the dumb bobblehead dance. He's trolling people. Like he plays his best basketball when he's being an absolute jerk. And today, when he was playing like a jerk, he damn near scored 30 points. He had 4 assists in the first quarter. He was shooting the fadeaway all willy-nilly. The corner threes were automatic. Hell yeah. And the above the break threes, those was hitting too. Oh yeah, guess what? The defense carried over from the first game. He played Anthony Edwards pretty well in the first quarter, and he's turned it up. This is the vision. This is the vision. The vision we had. We signed him.
Many KOT faithful followers remember the great debate between Raw Heber and myself on the importance of having a three-point shooting big man in the NBA. One of the points in my argument back then was not just for the fact of the open threes or above the break or having him in the corners. It's the attention that player draws at the 5, which is very different than drawing it at the 4 or the 3. When you have attention at the 5 and they're staying above the perimeter, the players can no longer guard at the line. They can no longer get into a deep drop. They have to guard the perimeter, which leads to what? Backdoor cuts.
Yep.
It leads to a centerless paint to where the dunker spot is wide open. That's where OG has thrived. As I mentioned, third in the NBA right now in dunks for the season. Those are easy baskets. That's easy offense. It's one of the reasons why I think myself and Leon understood where the future was going and designated a center spot to be someone who would be the offense could run through and could hit threes. And that explains Karl-Anthony Towns to a T. Let's talk about Mikal Bridges real quick. I agree. I see Timmy in the chat already trying to light me up for our back and forth over our Bridges. I just wanted the man to play above average defense. I've never really been too concerned with the offense. I knew that would come around, but I felt like he kind of had maybe lost a step from his days in Phoenix, and I was frustrated with the lack of effort, but also understood its adjustment. And it's understanding your role, and that would come with time. I was never pessimistic that he wouldn't eventually turn around. I knew he would. I was just kind of surprised. I thought like Debo in Minnesota, I thought Bridges would be an easy acclimation project than Karl-Anthony Towns was into the offense. This was his first 25, 5, and 5 game. He had 6 assists and 6 rebounds, but this is his first statistical 25, 5, and 5. A metric that OG has achieved, Josh Hart has achieved, Grimes achieved. It's important for Bridges, I think, to get that first one because that type of stat line shows him firing at all cylinders. And when he gives you 25, 5, and 5, he's worth all 5 of those bits because when he's running on that level of offensive awareness, we're unbeatable because you still have Cat and Brunson to demand double teams, which allow him to have single coverage and probably not even the best defender on the opposing team. Probably their second or third best defender, which means he can cook in the mid-range.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't even expect him to average 25, 5, and 5 every game. Like, there's going to be games where it's not going to be him. It's going to be Jalen Brunson. Like I said earlier, this is the type of team that could give Jalen Brunson problems. So even though I do have faith that Jalen Brunson can figure it out, we don't have to have him figure it out for 3 quarters anymore. We don't have to have him ISO and figure it out. We can go through other players, and he can just ease his way into the game and just be the point guard, the traditional point guard for a change instead of just being the guy who scores. And I think that was one of the biggest things that I loved about this game was he was able just to be, he doesn't have, it's my responsibility to save the day. No, just be, work yourself into the game natural with the flow, keep setting people up. And then when you have your open shot, take the open shots. And then there's going to be another games where it's going to be Jalen Brunson's turn. And Mikal Bridges might not have 25 and 5 and 5, but he might have a strong 18 on efficient scoring, more assists because people are cutting, and that'll be the game as long as he keeps playing the defense. And so like that's really what matters to me. And I think that's what I love about this team right now is despite the bench not really making the amount of points that the rest of the NBA does, because we're dead last. Lee was talking about this early before the game started. We're dead last in bench scoring. It still feels like we can score without Jalen Brunson being in the game. And that's something to say that that was not happening last season.
Agreed.
That was not happening last season. Look to the chat, though.
Gamer channel.
Yeah. I had to stop the conversation just to big up Gamer channel who sends a $52 super chat. I'm gonna tell you guys something. I definitely appreciate the core KOT fans.
Yeah.
For real. Because it's interesting because numbers will flub up and down depending on who leaves, who goes, and what channel is hot or whatever. But you guys, I don't know what's happening, but you guys have been really extra supportive with the super chats in the month of December, and it definitely helps us. So I really appreciate everything that you guys give to help keep the lights on. So appreciate you, Gaming Channel. He says Karl-Anthony Towns, 32 points plus 20 rebounds equals $52 for KOT. Great win for the Knicks. Cat MVP. Mikal Bridges balled out tonight. Unsung hero. Shout out to Thibs for out coaching a very good coach in Chris French. Yep. And somebody saved Dante DiVincenzo.
Go send Rick Brunson to save him.
Yes. Someone please call 911. Yo, the crazy part is I was watching the putback, right, Lee? And the Wolves insider talked about Dante's struggles, and they were telling him that they're going to stick with him. They're not going to trade him because they believe they can get something out of him. And my heart sank. I wanted them to give up on Dante immediately so we can get him back next season.
Yeah. Shout out Gamer Channel too, man. He's such a great guy. Me and him converse a lot on Twitter. He's been a huge supporter of a KOT, huge fan of Jay Ellis. He's been a real good friend to me, always sending words of encouragement, reads everything I write. He's Isaiah Ramos, man. You're a great dude. We really appreciate that awesome support financially. It helps the channel a lot. For sure.
Yeah, shout out to Fritz. Fritz picks for Timmy, Alexander, who made a bunch of graphics for us. Sandman, the number one Randle hater who's strutting around today. We'll talk about Randle soon. Everybody else is rocking with the KOT show. It's definitely support. Gamer Channel got that Christmas bonus. Gamer Channel got that Christmas bonus, baby. Let's go.
Gamer Channel, my guy.
Let's go. He sends another $10 super chat. He says, I'm donating 10 for every 3-pointer that Precious Achiuwa hits this season. Dog, you better hope he doesn't have career season. Let's go 3 to the dome. Oh, you know what? Gamer. Thank you for that segue, sir. Thank you for that segue. JT Redick, my trainer in my head. Shout out to JT Redick. What did you think of Precious in the game? Like, it's funny enough. To me, the missing piece has been Precious's shooting. That's the one thing that I feel like he doesn't give that Josh Hart does. But what did you think of Precious today?
Bro, I love Precious. I tweeted he was someone I've been watching since Miami. Don't watch a lot of college ball, but I love the NBA at large, and I was always impressed by his motor. And you have to give it up to Miami's scouting department. They always find guys who have potential and a ceiling to meet. And I think Precious is one of those guys who plays unbelievable with every single guy that he's on the floor with. I mentioned multiple times this podcast doing deep dives on plus minus on off numbers. No one was more consistent across the board from everyone from Jericho Sims all the way to who's a rookie. It could be Tyler Kolek or Jalen Brunson or Deuce McBride. It doesn't matter. You pair him, Mitch. He's plus, and he helps on the boards, on defense, on assists, on points in the paint. He's a beast. Yeah. And he's very unselfish, and he doesn't need any plays ran for him. He does all the dirty work. He'll give you offensive rebounds and putbacks. He's always trying to get active in that dunker spot for a lob or for a quick pass under the basket. And he's a great dude. I love him. I love his tenacity on the rebounding, on the boards. And he's one of those guys that gives us a perimeter defender when he's playing with Cat. He didn't take on the tougher assignment. Tonight, he got cooked by Randle. Really, we didn't slow Randle down until Thibs adjusted and put OG on him, which, again, that's what we wanted for Thibs. Be an in-game adjuster, not just a game in a series, but be able to make changes on the fly. And he showed that, understanding that Precious was getting cooked, but also understanding Precious can help in other ways. So when you have OG at the 4 and Precious at the 5, it allows Precious to be more of a roamer, more of a weak side helper. And that's where his defense is really as a connector, right? As that last line defense, that's where he's better. He's actually just as good of a rim protector. Statistically, not eye test, but statistically, he's as good of a rim protector as Mitchell Robinson, which is incredible. So I like him when he's paired with another strong defender at the 4. I think he can be a really pinch hitter 5 when we need him, when either Mitch is out or Karl-Anthony Towns has to sit.
Yeah, I like that as well. One of the reasons I was even thinking about the idea of having Precious start over Josh Hart, and I love Josh Hart, is because he does give us some rim protection that Cat doesn't have the reputation of giving us, although Cat has been steadily improving this season. I gotta give him that. And also he's just switchable. Like we saw a little bit today where there was a play where OG Anunoby is guarding Anthony Edwards, and then Anthony Edwards is screened, and then oops, you screen, and now you have Precious shadowing you. And it's not with his long arms and his quickness, and it's not like an easy day in the park after the switch. So I think having Precious in a lineup allows us to switch even more. And not to say you can't switch with Josh Hart, but I think Precious just has more of the physical tools to be able to handle those switches a lot better. As soon as he gets more comfortable playing more offense, shooting the corner 3, I think it'll even be better for him. But it looked good. It looked good having Precious next to Karl-Anthony Towns. And also you saw some sins next to Karl-Anthony Towns. So now you're starting to imagine, all right, here's where Mitch can fit in a little bit today.
Definitely. I think that was on purpose. I think it's kind of an incubation process to see what the numbers look like and the tape looks like with Sims and Cat next to each other, so that can be something that Thibs employs and within certain matchups. And Minnesota is one of those matchups where I think it's a good idea sometimes to have Cat at the 4 because of the twin towers and really the twin rebounding prowess. Even though Gobert and Randle have both affected each other's rebounding percentages, and averages, they're still a formidable rebounding group when both of them are in there on the offensive glass as well. So there are going to be matchups where I think the Mitch Cat duo is going to give us an edge. But overall, I think Cat the 5. I mean, you're seeing it. It's an MVP candidacy.
Yeah, it's MVP candidacy. I feel like even Cat the 5 pulling Gobert out of the paint, I think it kind of really helped our rebounding numbers too. Because we clobbered them on the boards. Like,
yep.
And we haven't had one of those type of rebounding performances all season, I think. So that was interesting to watch. Let's just dominate the boards. What was also interesting was to see like the Karl-Anthony Towns versus Randle type of approach. Randle, flamethrower in the first quarter, looked like he was a man on a mission. But also what was funny was I feel like the teammates knowing his moves, and maybe I feel like they practice with Randle so much that they know what's coming when it's coming. And there was like a couple of instances when I saw that happening. One when the end of the quarter was happening, and then Jalen Brunson just blitzed them out of nowhere and caused a steal for a fast break in the first quarter. Another was a spin move. I think I was like, oh, here go the spin move turnover. I think it was a spin move in the paint, and then OG Anunoby snatched the ball out of his hands for another fast break. So it was interesting to see the Knicks kind of take Randle's punch, and then came back and just kind of punched them back.
Yeah, man, that Minnesota, I was talking about it with Ian on the putback about the difference between Karl-Anthony Towns and Julius Randle is that Karl-Anthony Towns really plays in a very self-aware way. Like he realizes his deficiencies and his strengths. He never really tries to like impose himself on the game. He does so just by his intelligence and his ability, but not in like an active, okay, it's my turn now, or I'm only going to play defense when I get my shots, or I'm only going to play defense when I'm hot. Like Karl-Anthony Towns just does what he does naturally.
Yeah.
Because he can fit him on any team in the NBA at the 4 or the 5, and he's going to make you a better team. Randle's different. On the right team, Randle can have almost as equal of an impact as Karl-Anthony Towns, but it has to be the right fit. He was that for Jalen Brunson and Vince last year, but I think Leon had the foresight to say, this team hit its ceiling as currently constructed. It's too small, it's too one-dimensional, and it's too half-court, slow in pace, and slow in possession, on-ball possession time. So they had to switch it up and become more intuitive and really become more modern. And that Minnesota team, you can tell that the chemistry that Karl-Anthony Towns built with Gobert, bid-to-bid lobs, bid-to-bid screen setting, it's not happening in Minnesota. Randle is not the type of player to set screens for another big. He'll do it for your guard if he knows he's going to eat on the pass back to where you're playing a pick and roll and he's going to be dip and go. But if it's going to be to a big that's not going to dip in the ball, and now that big is going to try to do a lob on his own, and Randle might not even get the assist because it's this block, he has to bring the ball back down, and the time elapses to where the assist doesn't count, Randle ain't going to do it. Randle's only really about his own offense, and the team has to acclimate around him. Karl-Anthony Towns acclimates his game around the team, and that's the big difference. And Minnesota's really struggling, trying to find out routes, trying to open up the court, create more space, and it's damn near impossible when you have a player like Randle at the 4.
I think he can, but sometimes I feel like, watching him, his emotions get the best of him sometimes. And I feel like when he's level-headed and clear, he can play that way. And then when he gets emotional, he does the opposite and can hurt you. So I think that's kind of what was happening. He kind of had both today, I believe. I feel like the emotions helped him and hurt him today, which was interesting. And then there was the blown transition defense seen around all Knicks Twitter. When Randle misses the 3, kind of lightly jogs backwards into transition defense, and Mikal Bridges sneaks behind the defense. Jalen Brunson whips a pass to him for a layup, and it was easy 2 by the Knicks. Oh, yeah, and boo birds followed by the Timberwolves fans because of the lack of transition defense from Randle. So yeah, that was interesting.
There are many fans that have created low-light highlight packages of Randle's lapses on defense and ball watching. I've seen them. And it kind of hurts me because I've always been a strong supporter of Randle. I still am. I don't not like him anymore because he's not on the Knicks. I'm still rooting for him because I really like him as a human being. He's a very flawed person, and I see myself in him because he tries his ass off too. And there's a lot of good about him as a player. But again, his skill set's so specific. It's got to be the right team. And kudos to Leon Rose for knowing when to sell high. The reporting was out. Both sides were really far away on agreement. Fred Katz reported.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Glad you mentioned
Like,
that.
there's absolutely no way that the team was going to overpay Randle coming off of a major shoulder surgery and also entering his 30s. It's not worth having a major contract like that for a player that really doesn't fully fit into your offense and doesn't fit at all in your defense. It's just not a shrewd move. And he really played his cards right perfectly to sell high on Devo as the extra oomph element of the trade that made it finally be accepted by Minnesota. Getting Karl-Anthony Towns, man, like unlocking him, specifically playing the 5. Holy hell. My dad texted me, he was like, Leon Rose is an effing genius because the trades that he's pulled off, knowing when to include picks, wanting to know when not to include picks and make it a player-based trade, this has been unbelievable. Shout out Leon Rose. He saw some in Karl-Anthony Towns. And again, it's a group effort. Leon knows him, Thibs knows him, Gerson Rosas knows him. Yeah. Shout out Gerson, and appreciate you, brother, for following me there. Those 3 guys know him the best. Shout out LinkedIn Lee, as Fritz calls me. But they knew who they were getting. And that type of intel, knowing the person on and off the court that's going to be joining your team, that's the opposite mindset from Isaiah Thomas, Phil Jackson, Steve Mills, Glenn Grunwald, Scott Layden, who went for the name and how it looks on paper, now how it looks on the court.
Yeah, that's been a Knicks staple for years. We just go after the big name, and this has not helped us. But now nepotism is helping us, and I'll take all of it.
And I'll take it all.
I'll
all of it.
Thank you, nepotism. And also, I want to shout out to one person you missed, Lee.
Shout out the
Who's that?
Worldwide West.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Worldwide West, man. I still remember he predicted Cat would be a Knick years ago. And then when the trade happened, he said, I told you so.
Yeah.
So I think it was all conspiracies. It was all in the cards, man. Knicks really, they be playing the short game and long game at the same time. They're not playing. They are not playing.
I think it takes a little bit of getting used to for us Knicks fans. I think that's why you see such a strong division on Twitter of like positive and negative Knicks Twitter. We don't really know how to act with a functional front office and a really good team. Like I never in my life imagined the Knicks would be number 1 offense in the NBA. Number 1 defense, maybe, but offense and during a modern NBA, wow, it's really, you're right. It's a group effort. It's Worldwide West, Gerson. It's even Scott Perry deserves his flowers, Thibs, Leon, Brock Aller, Walt Perrin. Like, holy hell. We might be the best run franchise in the NBA right now. Us and OKC, man. Who else?
Yeah, man. Woo, number 1 offense in the NBA. I'm still tearing from watching the way the ball was moving. I can't believe how instinctively it was happening. I couldn't believe I was watching the Knicks. I couldn't believe I was rooting for that team. Like, I just never seen any iteration of the Knicks play this style of basketball.
I know.
It's nuts.
It's usually the style of basketball being played against us, not the style of basketball we're playing.
Yeah. And you know what, too? I'm still shout out to Thibs who got fired and went to Golden State to learn some things.
True.
Because I'm like all this off-ball movement, cutting, I'm just like that. A lot of that has to be that Golden State stint. A lot of it has to be that Golden State stint.
I'm really glad you brought that up too, because there are so many people on Knicks Twitter. Man, I love Knicks Twitter. Show me there's a community beyond my smaller conclave here in Dallas between me and my pops and the KOT team. I love having Knicks fans of all shapes, sizes, colors to be able to argue or commiserate with. It's great, but there is a large, very loud portion on its Twitter that believes that Tom Thibodeau is not a smart offensive coach. And not even I, who was at one point the commander-in-chief of the Fire Thibs hive, I never even stooped to the low to say that he was a bad offensive coach. I think the worst I said was he was an average offensive coach. I've been proven wrong. He's smarter than I ever even imagined, because right now you have Johnny Bryant gone. He's in Cleveland, and this Knicks offense is the most diverse and advanced it's ever been. Shout out to Steve Jones Jr., one of my favorite follows on Twitter. God did my man his flowers. He watches almost every NBA game, former coach, former video guy, and he tweets what he sees on the offensive decent side. And he broke down a play against the Pistons early on in the game. First quarter, I think there was like only 2 minutes into the game, and he showed action that was being ran for really OG was a primary number one option off of this play, but Jalen Brunson ended up getting the score because of the multiple options that Thibs inserts into each set, to where there's multiple bailout. There's option 1, 2, or 3, depending on how the defense is reacting, right? You said earlier, read and react. They're basically chin action. OG was staggering, got 2 staggered screens off ball. He curled into a pin down for Brunson. The Pistons bid on it. They actually doubled Cat, and Cat was going to be the one who was going to pull up for 3. It allowed Brunson to slip under the basket. What did Cat do? That 3-point line I talked about as a playmaker by the break, unguardable, 7 feet tall, throwing that lob past to Brunson. He caught it in stride and laid it up back door. That is offense that Knicks fans don't give Thibs credit for. That is a set that has 3 options. You have Cat above the break, you got Brunson catching, either shooting mid-range or going to the basket, or you have OG coming off that curl with the double screens, catching it in his sweet spot right there at the foul line. That's elite offense. Those are 3 highly efficient shots from 3 players. So you know what OG's going to do. He might not even pull up. He'll put the ball on the floor and go in for his dunk, which he's third in the NBA at. That is offensive sets from Thibs without Johnny Bryant here on the staff, without anyone else, without Woody, Mike Woodson. That is Thibs orchestrating the perfect opportunities for his players to get the easiest shots possible. Shout out Thibs.
Yeah, I think you know what too. It's like a lot of the times, like I said, I definitely have my criticism of Thibs too, but I had a lot of conversations with people about, is it Thibs or is it personnel? Like, I had a lot of conversations about, hey, you know what? Thibs can only do but so much with this type of person or this type of group or these type of, like, you need people who are going to be able to run the things that you are telling them. And if you don't have the capacity to do it or the talent to do it, it just doesn't look as good. Because we've been saying move without the ball. He's been saying move without the ball and trust the pass since he's been here. This is not since he's been here. But and I love Randle. Love what he's done here. Telling Cat to trust the pass and telling Randle to trust the pass. 2 different things.
It's true. And the Knicks are no longer that. There was like 3 seasons in a row, the Knicks were either 1, 2, or 3 in isolation possessions and isolation frequency. They're no longer in the top 10 in either. Right. But they are very efficient in points per possession within ISO, especially ISO off of a pick and roll. Like any action that comes after the pick and roll, whether Brunson gets into it or Cat gets into it, they're really high points per possession, but they're no longer top 10 in possession or frequency because the ball is finally moving. Hey, listen, sometimes the ball is stuck with Randle. That hurt our possessions. Sometimes RJ would go into a useless ISO. They would end up with him getting his shit eaten at the rim. Listen, now we have efficient players. We have better players. No more Grimes. Now we have Deuce. That's really important too, as you said, with the personnel that we have on the roster.
Yeah, dude. Oh man, I forgot to mention Deuce. I need to put myself in the corner, man. Deuce McBride is amazing, man.
He is.
His ball hawking is amazing. His point of attack defense is amazing. But man, his shooting is freaking off the charts. Like when his feet are set. When his feet are set and if he has 1 second to aim, it's cash. It's cash. If he has 1 second, I think that's the most impressive thing about Deuce is the dude is like 6 feet tall and he's shooting it over people with like tightly contested shots. Like people are up on him. And it's funny because you look at Deuce, right? And you look like OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby had a career high like 2 weeks ago, like because of the way he was shooting threes. OG Anunoby, when I'm watching him play now, seems to have problems with the amount of how hard teams are closing out on him at the 3-point line. And this dude is 6'8", and he's having problems shooting over people. Deuce McBride is doing it like it's not like nobody's business. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. Like what Deuce is doing at his size and at his accuracy without a lot of space. On top of playing defense. And he had what? 7 assists, 8 assists today? Yeah, man. Deuce.
Yeah, it's It's got to be hell on opposing defenses to have a guard our point of attack when Brunson sits and you have Deuce McBride, one of the most efficient guards in the entire NBA. My guy this season is shooting 42% on three, 57. That is scorching. 57% point three on effective field goal percentage. That's a deep stat. That's actually an advanced stat. That's not raw numbers right there when you add in the effective field goal percentage. Then that's also at all three levels while giving you around 85% from the line. Holy, and it's not just the shooting. He's not scoring in a way like Grimes did, where Grimes had it, and even Fournier a little bit to his extent, and Reggie too, where they had 3 or 4 spots on the perimeter that typically the 4 or the 5 would find them at, and either curl action or just on an offensive rebound, they knew where they were and they were tossed out to him for a 3. Deuce is scoring on movement shooting.
Yeah.
He is repositioning himself. He's scoring with really, like you said, tightly contested defense, and he's scoring with confidence. I'm like, damn, this guy he's a flamethrower. He might be our best, most consistent shooter right now from the perimeter. And that doesn't mean that he's shooting the highest percentage, but I'm the most confident when I see him pulling up from 3. And not only that, he's hitting it when we really need it. When the opposing teams go on a run and our lead is being minimized or we're having trouble initiating offense, a bailout Deuce McBride 3 is a backbreaker. And I love that energy he brings off the bench.
Yeah. Him and Mikal, man, I don't know. It's toe-to-toe with those guys right now from the 3-point line, yo. Mikal is on one now. Mikal is completely different when he's not thinking. Like there is no hitch in Mikal's shot anymore. Like none whatsoever. I feel like it was like his shot was like 5 movements in the beginning of the season. Now it's just all cash, all fluid. I love it. Shout out to Deuce, shout out to Mikal. All great players. Great game, damn it. Great freaking game. 133 points in regulation. That is not an overtime score, guys. Not an overtime score. Garbage time happened 9 minutes in the 4th quarter. Not an overtime score. That's how you do it. That's how you take care of business. That's how you take care of it. And we've been playing all these. I know it's the NBA. We've been playing all these bum teams for like a week and a half, right? So I understand we've been on these post games. Yeah, we won. Woo, and I'm happy we won. We've been playing all these bum teams for a week and a half. We beat a team who's a good defensive team with Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle and those guys. I'm happy we got this win. And we smacked them, bent them over, and they got booed off their own home court. Yeah, I'm loving it. All right.
Me too, man. Perfectly said.
Yeah. Salute to the chat. Shout out to Stanley Mann. He says we had great drafts, Bryant, McBride, Sims, and Rokas. Yeah, man, we had some gems. For sure. Let's get to some other topics though. Because there's other Knicks news that's kind of been happening. One is Shamet's return looming. Everybody remembers Shamet was a guy who was doing really well in the preseason. There was a lot of people who was like, damn, I think Shamet might be playing over Payne. Then it looked like for a while that Thibs would go 10. The way he was playing Shamet in campaign and McBride in preseason, and he was doing that consistently. He was doing it so consistently, I thought the Knicks would actually go 10. And I was like, this is interesting. I didn't have this on my bingo card. But now he has taken the first step to returning. He's playing with the Knicks in the G League. I think he had like a 10-point game. Didn't even shoot well from 3, though. He shot okay from the field. But, it's his first game back. You still be expected that he has some rust back. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited about the prospect of having Shamet back. It's been reported by Ian that some things have to happen before he makes it back with the team. But the Knicks definitely seem interested in bringing him back. And that might be the end of Matt Ryan soon. So, that's something to look out for. Anything to add to that?
No one jumped out the window more than me about Landry Shamet. I even predicted that. I thought he was going to jump into the starting lineup upon his return. I think Josh Hart has just been too damn good, and that's not going to happen. I was dead wrong on that one. But Landry Shamet is the reason why I don't think we should make a trade. I think Landry Shamet gives us the one thing we've been missing, which is somebody who can come in and be a volume shooter off the bench and even potentially close games for us. And I think that Landry fills that role because, like Dante, he's a good team defender.
Yeah.
He's not necessarily a really high level point of attack defender, but he can switch ones, twos, threes, and he plays good, smart team defense without fouling. He hits free throws, and he's a really solid 3-point shooter. To me, I think we should play a 9.5 rotation, meaning you have your starting five, you got Deuce, you got Mitch, you got Precious, but between who's playing better, Cam and Shamet, one guy gets 20 minutes or 18 a game, the other gets 10 or 12. To me, that's like 9.5. And he's kind of doing that right now with Sims. Sims is like the 8.5 player based on matchups or how Sims is really producing. I think Shamet really negates any necessity for a trade, which means we keep Mitch too. I like Shamet. I love his professionalism, lots of playoff experience. And when he gets hot, man, he can win a game on you by himself.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. The one thing I do miss about Dante is that movement shooting. And he's not doing it with the Wolves. But man, when he was with us, he'd be 3 or 4 feet behind the 3-point line. And he was a bailout option for us for sure. And we went to that bailout option a few times, and it's helped us. And I don't know if the Timberwolves have seen tape on him, but they should be looking at how we use them and use them the same way, because man, I feel like he's not getting the looks or the shots that he was getting here, and that might be why he's struggling over there. But yeah,
I'll be honest with you, bro. Like from my perspective, and I'm not gonna lie and say I've watched a ton of Landry Shamet games. I watched a decent amount of him with Phoenix, and I actually watched a decent amount with him with Washington last year. Phoenix, he was a movement shooter, and he was a high volume movement shooter. But mostly in Phoenix, it was catch and shoot. In Washington, I saw him literally win games by himself because he would just go off on ball behind the perimeter, moving, rearranging, fake, one step forward and then pulling up for three. The guy is really lethal beyond the perimeter. I actually think he can fill that Dante DiVincenzo role.
Okay.
He is not Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is an elite shooter, but he gives you very little else. Too much reliability on defense and not a good enough passer to really make this offense work. Landry Shamet is. And I've seen enough Landry. I think Landry, with this offense and this level of chemistry, can step in and provide 80% of what Devo was giving us last year off the bench.
Well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, he is back completely healthy. It's funny. Me and other Knicks fans were concerned about his shoulder because Randle dislocated his shoulder and he was out for a much longer stretch. I guess his grade was severely less severe than Randle's. So, we'll see what happens. If he does come back, that means Matt Ryan will be waived and possibly brought back on the 2-way. So, all you guys keep an eye out for that. All right. Also, in other possible, well, I guess not Knicks news, I guess we could talk about a little bit about trade season. Trade season this season, I don't know if I have expectations that I usually have for trade season because of the type of team we have, and Precious has been injured, so I'm not sure what his trade value is anymore, and all this other stuff. But there's some interesting things to be talked about. One news that has come out is news on Jericho Sims. There's been teams who have been interested in Jericho Sims. As you guys know, he's got more playing time this season, and he's been #1 in rim protection this season. But I just don't see the benefit of the Knicks moving him. The only way I see the Knicks moving him is if like his agent and him go, "Hey Jericho, you need to move out of here because it'll give more opportunity next way." Like I feel like he would have to ask out for him to be traded because we're gonna get a second for him. Why do we need another second? We have like 600 million seconds already, and he's still kind of a good bailout option for us if there is an injury somewhere. So I don't think he'll be moved, but that's the news that's come out on Jericho Sims according to Mark Stein.
I 100% agree. Might shock some people because I have been critical of Sims up until really the last month or two. I've never been a huge Sim fan. JLS bought all my Sim stock when it was super low, so he might have fleeced me on that one. Doing
Bitcoin, let's go.
this season. So I hope you made some coin off of that, homie. But yeah, I agree. I don't see any reason, as I've said, when Mitch gets back and Shamet gets back, to me, we have the best roster in the NBA. There's no need to make a trade. I think it's just Let's get players back and let's get them back to be acclimated in their role. You see what Precious provides when he's given this opportunity to start. This is his third game back, I believe, since he returned from injury. And every game he is more and more impressive. So let's just keep the roster. Agreed. I don't care about 2 seconds. We have a handful of them already. I'd rather have Sims's rim protection and rebounding rate. He's a very strong rebounder as well. He does all the little things. He doesn't ask to have plays ran for him. He doesn't have a bad attitude. He's a soldier. And I think we should keep those guys. And I like keeping guys we draft and developed as well, just for continuity purposes. So yeah, I'm with you, man. If there is a trade, you and I have been on the same wavelength. Dorian Finney-Smith is the only guy that I would be okay trading Mitchell Robinson for. There's not really anyone out there. I thought about Grayson Allen a little bit, and that's kind of interesting. Like maybe he could guard the point of attack off the bench. He's like 41% career 3-point shooter, and I think he's shooting like 43% on 6 attempts this season. But it's a size thing. He's only 6'4". I like Finney-Smith, 6'7". I watch him guard the 1 through 5 and even be a little bit of a playmaking hub at the elbow with Dallas. He's a Swiss Army knife. He's got a really solid 3-point shot, and he's got Western Conference Finals experience too. A lot of playoff miles on him and his time in Dallas. He's a dog. That's another thing. I love his personality. I think it would be a good fit here on the team too. I'm team don't trade Mitch, but if we do, the one realistic one to me is Finney-Smith because of what he provides as a 3-and-D.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, we were on the same page with that. Like, actually, last post game, I kind of briefly talked about it, like the last 10 minutes or so. I would be hesitant to trade Mitch though, because I feel like we'd be solving one thing and then adding another problem. You know what I'm saying? Because I still feel like there's gonna be teams like the Hawks who kill us with
Yes.
the Hawks specifically.
Yes.
I mean, you know what though? Like, I feel like Finney-Smith would help in one guard, but then when we still have to guard freaking Capella, I think Mitch would be crucial for us with the Capella matchup. 76ers, I usually say the 76ers. I don't know what's gonna happen to the 76ers today. So who knows if that's even gonna be a problem. But like that type of long, strong big, I still want to keep Mitch for, which is why I'm kind of hesitant. But I already know, like, if for that trade to work, Finley costs 14. I think what 12 mil, 14 mil. I think Finley off the top costs 14 mil. I think Mitch costs around the same.
Yes.
So it seems like that was the only trade that would work money wise. Precious, I saw somebody say trade Precious. Precious is 6 mil. That's not going to work unless maybe you stack him with other people. It had to be like Precious, Sims. Precious and Sims is what, 9? Then you missing 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Then you miss another 5 million. Like, I don't even think we have enough. Unless Leon Rose and those guys sign another rookie for 5 million and trade him like we did before. Like, maybe they do something sneaky like that. You know what I'm saying? But because, like, to me, like I said, at the beginning of the season, it seemed like we signed Precious to trade him.
Right.
Which is why I felt like Precious was almost gone. But you know what I did? You know what, Lito? You know what I did say in the summer that I forgot that I said? We still have Washington's pick. And Washington's first round pick is not valuable. It's only valuable to Washington. So, like, the only other trade I could see is the trade with the Wizards. Because remember, we was talking about before we got Cat, we were talking about getting the center from the Pelicans.
Jonas
Valanciunas. So it's like, I guess the question would be, does it even make sense to go after Jonas Valanciunas now? Like,
no, I say no.
I'm not sure if it makes as much sense.
No.
It's like, yeah, I don't think it makes much sense. Like, if you know Mitch is coming back, unless they feel like they're not confident in Mitch coming back, only way I can see that happening. But you know what? This is making me think about something else. Is there anybody else on the Wizards roster that could be useful for us? Because since our pick is only valuable to the Wizards, can we trade this pick back to the Wizards for somebody we can use? I guess is a question.
I always think about what is the incentive for the other team to get rid of X player,
Right.
and think about their roster, the Bub Carringtons or the Bilal Coulibaly's. There's no reason they don't get rid of them because they're part of their core moving forward.
Right.
Whether they try to compete or they tear it down for an even harsher rebuild, those guys are staying. The only one that made sense that might be moved is someone like Corey Kispert, who's coming up on an extension. But to me, he's someone that is not guaranteed Thibs is going to integrate into the roster. Grayson Allen does your defense. He does you hard-nosed point of attack defense. He does you rebounding. He does you guaranteed shooting. I think if we trade for Grayson Allen, they're almost unanimous, he'll be a part of the rotation. Whether it means minutes cuts for someone else, doesn't matter. I think Thibs will give him a shot. But Corey Kispert doesn't play super strong defense, doesn't give you rebounding on the perimeter. Those are deficiencies that Thibs really cares about. And I don't think that if we trade Mitch for him, it means that he would even play. And no one else in that roster. Kuzma is a bad fit. Jordan Poole is a bad fit.
Yeah.
Those guys I don't want on this roster. And there's no one else that to me would even be moved beyond that group.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about trading Mitch for him. I'm just talking about, hey, this first is pretty much a second.
I see. Oh, okay.
I'm saying like this, our first, the Washington Wizards first is not going to convey with anybody else, so it's not valuable to anybody but Washington. So knowing that we probably still might need a wing, 3-and-D wing. Like, I wonder if we can do some like three-way. I don't know. I feel like I'm thinking too hard on it.
I saw in the chat someone mentioned Saddiq Bey. I think he is someone that Thibs won't actually will probably give a shot in the rotation to. But again, in that case, is it even worth it? Like, who are you having to give up? Is now Precious being moved? Because I'd much rather just keep Precious.
Right.
If it's not Mitch and it's not Precious, let's be realistic. Who the hell is it? Because Campaign ain't going anywhere. Shamet doesn't have value. He's on a two-way right now. Are you going to do some conversion with like Jericho, not Jericho, Jacob Toppin or Matt Ryan, some Brock Aller magic to where you make the salaries match and you bring in Kispert just for Kispert not to play and maybe be gone next year? Those type of deals, I don't think Leon Rhodes is going to make anymore. Those Cam Reddish type moves. If he trades for someone, he knows that person's going to be a part of Thibs' rotation.
Trade Mitch for Josh Green and Nick Richards? I don't know about that.
Oh, hell no. Hell no. Josh Green's a bum.
Nah, I don't know about that. I don't even think Nick Richards would even take a Mitch to be traded. Like, I don't even think that.
Yeah, I agree with you. You get him for cheaper.
Yeah, for way cheaper.
Yeah.
Like,
You
why?
get him for Sims.
Yeah.
Sims in a pick. Yep.
And it's like, and even then, like, do you want to? I mean, I don't even. That still doesn't make sense to me.
The crazy thing, though, is, and you have to consider this, every deadline since Leon Rose took over, we made a move. Even the one when he was just kind of in the shadows.
Yeah.
He co-signed, it was reported, he co-signed Scott Perry moving Marcus Morris for that pick for they turned into Emmanuel quickly. So he's always had a hand in making a deal at the deadline, but we are in a different place this deadline than we've ever been as a championship contender and a team is firing off cylinders offensively. I think there's a year that we skip it. I think it's this one. I don't see him making a move.
Yeah. And I've seen people talking about, we have Mitch, we have Precious, we can get a $21 million player if we mold those two. But I just feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like we have this conversation about depth a lot. I feel like is that sacrificing too much depth at the center position? I mean, I guess we have Sims, but I don't know. I don't know if I like that idea. I'm not sure if I like that idea at all. But I've seen that being thrown around.
And the advantages of bringing in a Dorian Finney-Smith or even a Saddiq Bey, I understand the logic. What's like, well, if you do move Sims, if you do move Mitch or you move Sims, how are you going to guard the Embiids or the Miles Turner? I actually think we have the personnel right now to both front and switch on bigs on the perimeter. That really isn't my concern. The concern I have is guarding the pick and roll.
Exactly.
And those bigs, the Bam Adebayos and the Clint Capellas, they kill us on the pick and roll. And those two teams are very smart coaches, and they will run that action to death on us. We'll get fucking spammed by pick and rolls. And Clint Capella will have 18 points and 20 rebounds off of that. That's why Mitch is so important, because Mitch is one of the few rim protectors that can slow that down and even grind it to a halt because of his ability to guard the rim and to be an offensive and defensive rebounder and not give them second chance points. So to me, we can guard the Embiids, we can guard the Miles Turners, and if OG would have been healthy, Miles Turner would not have gone off on us because he would be switching on to him on the perimeter, and he was crucial to front Embiid when iHeart was getting dog walked. They put OG on him, and all that fronting really cut off his ability to catch it in his sweet spots. He was catching it farther away and having to labor and move more to get to the basket, which caused him to get injured more. So to me, it's all about guarding the pick and roll, and why give up Mitch when he's your best pick and roll defender.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. Especially with Atlanta, Mitch had the uncanny ability to guard two players at once in the pick and roll.
True.
Just because he's just like, he just has those arms, and and I feel like he's smarter than people give him credit for sometimes on how he guards them. And he's just always able to just be like, you know what, I'll show just enough to, and then block the pass when I see the lob coming. I think we just need that element to help our defensive versatility to play other teams and to play different styles. I think we need him.
On defense, he is the most Thibs player. Why get rid of the most Thibs player? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I agree.
He embodies everything Thibs wants in a center. Why get rid of him? That's Thibs' calling card. You should keep that.
I agree. I definitely agree. Yeah. I'm with it. I want to keep Mitch, man. I just want to let this trade deadline pass in the wind. That's it. Whew. All right. Anything else you want to talk about? You want to talk about Melo possibly joining the Knicks? Did you hear about that? Melo. You know what's funny? The Melo, man, everybody knows Melo has his podcast, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. We're talking about the possibility of a Donovan Mitchell trade. Fat Joe was on there, and he was just like, it was happening. Donovan Mitchell was staying at my house. It was happening. And Carmelo Anthony, he was coming. And I remember being on this program, KLT Heads. I remember being on this program talking about if OB is traded, Carmelo Anthony would be a Knick. I remember when I said that, guys. Remember people were here when I said that? Yeah. I felt smart watching that. I was like, I knew it. It's like, I knew it. If that trade went down, Carmelo would be a Knick. Sad that Carmelo never came back to be a Knick to finish his career. Still happy the trade didn't happen because now we have Jalen Brunson here.
Me too.
Turned the tide for us, man. Sometimes the best moves are the moves you don't make.
Talk about it, bro. Talk about it.
Yeah. The Cavs are happy to have Donovan Mitchell right now, too. Hopefully they won't be happy when we play them next time.
Another deal I'm happy we didn't do is that Zach LaVine deal, too, which appeared to be very close at that one deadline. Really happy one didn't go down, too.
Yeah.
Really happy. Definitely wouldn't have OG if that happened, because Mitch and RJ was involved in those talks. Right.
And on top of that, he pump faked us with the injuries, man. He was healthy. He was healthy for like 2 weeks, and then boom. Yeah. He's like, oh, look at that. Yeah, he's healthy for a while. This is the healthiest he's been. Maybe he's turning a corner. Nope. Nope. Right back to same old.
In Chicago.
Exactly. And now,
but Melo, Hall of Fame, well deserved. He should be first ballot.
Well deserved.
Without question.
Well deserved.
Melo made me, for the first time, that was the first time I was proud to be a Knicks fan. When he came, it was cool to have someone who was born in New York to come back to New York and wear orange and blue. That was awesome. Right now, there's multiple stories of that ever since. Karl-Anthony Towns has that. Jalen Brunson has that to a degree, at least close to New York. New Jersey's close enough. But it's cool. I love it. But Melo, man, those times, they didn't put a roster around him, and he still did everything he could to win games. So I think he deserves that Hall of Fame, just really based on the Olympics and his Knicks tenure, not even including Denver. I think it would be a Hall, and plus Syracuse. It counts for all those things. His resume speaks for itself. Top 75 player of all time, and my favorite player of all time as well. Gotta love Melo.
Yeah, I love Melo too. Despite I defended him for a long time. I'm not gonna lie, Lee. There was a time where I wanted him to be moved. There was a time around when he got traded, I was like, I think it's time. Sadly, I think it's time. But I still love the time that he had here, and I appreciate the time he had here. And I appreciate what he had to go through with dumb Phil Jackson running the show.
Ass Phil, man.
That was nuts. That was a nuts time. That was a nuts time.
It was.
Speaking of podcasts, since we talking about Knicks on podcasts lately, I feel like Melo has to invite Stoudemire to 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, man.
Clear the air.
Yeah, yo. There was a clip. There was a clip with Stoudemire talking, and I almost felt like this was a shot at Melo, but like on the low. You know the clip I'm talking about?
Yep, it definitely felt that way. And he said that's not the first time he said that.
Yeah,
not the first time.
For those who don't know, there was a clip of Stoudemire. I don't know what podcast he was on. He was talking about why his hand was bleeding in that playoffs, because there was an emphasis playoff series versus the Heat, and he hurt his hand and he couldn't come back. And he said he was upset because the Knicks, he was used to having the Knicks have a lot of ball movement, and he talked about how Wilson Chandler, shout out to Wilson Chandler who came on the show a while ago, had a career year. Gallinari had a career year. He talked about how he got Mozgov paid, but then he felt like the ball stopped moving, and he was pissed that the ball stopped moving, and he was so pissed that he hit a fire hydrant trying to slam a wall, and his hand started bleeding. And I was like, is this a shot at Melo? Is this the Melo got to get him a hat and talk to him on the couch and clear that air, man. That definitely felt like a shot.
Yeah, I believe it was a Udonis Haslam, Mike Miller podcast, which makes it even worse because he was talking about it. He was on the Heat when he punched that fire extinguisher. But I think there's some revisionist history with Amar'e Stoudemire and how he's remembered as a Knick. Because as a Knick fan who watched every moment of every game during his tenure, my dad was consistently injured, man. And when he played, he was kind of a bum most of the time. I got sick and tired of seeing the photos of him in a bathtub filled with wine. I got sick and tired of him constantly saying, I'm going to come back and be phenomenal. Bruh, you were never phenomenal. You were phenomenal for the first 3 months you were with this team. And then the moment that you got injured, shit went downhill and you were never able to acclimate and change your game to fit around Melo. That was his fault as much as it was anyone else. That man could not stay healthy to save his life. He was the worst rebounding power forward I've ever seen in my entire life, and he played matador defense. You think Julius Randle ball watched? My boy Amar'e Stoudemire ball watched on every possession, and if he wasn't ball watching, he was fouling. My guy was a cone, man. Let's keep it a buck about Amar'e Stoudemire. He was actually ass. That he signed that contract with no health stipulations and no medical concerns. He was fully guaranteed, and he kept us from being able to be flexible or building around Melo. And honestly, we should have amnestied him and not Chauncey Billups if I'm going to keep it 100. So I feel like
I feel like we were stuck between a rock and a hard place either way, because like Stoudemire, phenomenal player, phenomenal career with Nash, 2010 guy.
Yeah.
Got here, to my surprise, expanded his game because he wasn't I never known him as a post player. He got here, he said, I'm gonna learn to play without Stoudemire, became a post player. And to me, became a guy who can actually score in isolation, and I didn't see that coming. Right. But so I do give him props for that. But like you said, the defense was defense was shaky. When he played defense, he played defense when he played defense in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. That's when he played defense.
When he was healthy.
Yeah, when he was healthy. When he was healthy, he played defense in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. The money that we spent versus the games that he played, we got him too late.
Bust.
Amar'e, we got him too late. He just could never be healthy, man. He can never be healthy for sure. But
his rebounding numbers with the Knicks were absolutely atrocious. I'm looking at it right now.
8 rebounds a game.
The most rebounds. He had one season with 8, the first one. Then it went to 7.8, then 5, then 4.9, then 5.6. Come on, bro. The rebounding was atrocious.
Yeah. But he needs to lead the chat. I don't know. Or at least need to see them in the park. I don't know. I don't know. Shout out to Amar'e, shout out to Melo, shout out to all those guys. All right.
Love Melo.
All right. I have no more podcast gossip to talk about. Oh, the only other
man, we'll do
podcast
it.
gossip I have to talk about is Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague announcing his love for Thibodeau. Yeah, Jeff Teague on his podcast said that Thibs was his favorite coach.
I saw some people on Twitter use that to say that Tibbs as naturally coach, he just kind of yells really simplistic things like up, down, harder, fast, instead of actually like running plays, which obviously that was a joke. But if you really think that Tom Thibodeau is just like saying random non sequiturs instead of coaching the game, you might be one of the stupidest basketball analysts on Twitter. So either wear that crown or deny.
Yeah.
That's an unbelievably ridiculous take.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't like it's read and react. So he gives players freedom, but he has set plays and read and reacts with options. That's the way he coaches. That just is what it is. But every player has continuously said that he is a freak of nature when it comes to the love of the game and how much he works and how hard he studies. Every single player has said the same thing when it comes to Thibs. Like that, nobody outworks Thibs. So, and Teague said the same thing. It is
agreed.
All right. Shoot, any bro picks?
No, I got an oop it though.
What's
That
your
new trailer for the Man of Steel looks amazing. I was worried about the teaser. The first one looked like a CW episode, and I was like, "Oh man, they're gonna ruin my Man of Steel again." But then the teaser trailer came out in full, and I love the pacing and editing of it. I thought it was really brilliant. Got me hyped for the summer of Superman and the Fantastic Four, but especially Superman to me. I think like the way that the world is right now, the country, it would be awesome to have a superhero that's not dark and gritty and like complicated. To me, a superhero that just represents hope and the best of humanity is kind of what we need right now. And man, America's never needed Superman more than it needs it right now. And to have a great rendition with like a solid unknown actor who can really make a name for himself with that role and great character actors around him. Nicholas Hoult is Lex Luthor. Really excited about that too. I love that they're introducing Superman in a world where other metahumans already exist. So he's going to be fighting alongside Hot Girl and Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, and all these other guys. That's really cool too. I think this movie is really going to reset the DCU and to be a little bit more inspiring, which it's been missing in this dark and gritty re-ups they've been doing since 2010.
Okay, all right. Shout out to the Superman movie. Okay, all right, I got that. My old pick is all of the Karl-Anthony Towns threes in the fake defensive player of the year. Rudy Gobert's face. That was just enjoyable to watch. I'm gonna just torch you. Also, every time Mikal Bridges does a disrespectful celebration,
he's a troll. I love it when he trolls. Keep trolling, bro.
Yo, that dude is a jerk. I didn't realize how much of a jerk he really is. and it's, you know what it is? He had to humble himself because he's been playing for a losing team. So you never really saw his true colors. Like how much can you really gloat when you're playing for the Brooklyn Nets?
True. Good point.
So now like he's on a winning team, he's like travel. He's doing all the bull. He's doing all that. All the shit that would piss me off. I was playing against him. He's doing it for the Knicks, and I'm loving it.
Oh, the chat just alerted me to a bruh pick. The Golden State Warriors lost 93-144 to the Memphis Grizzlies in Memphis. Draymond Green with the 0-0, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 points.
Frank Ntilikina.
Yeah, maybe Kevin Knotts too. Clay Anthony early stat line. This is the Dennis Schroeder effect. My guy had 5 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds. Dang, Dennis Schroeder, man. I guess he's only good when he's on bad teams.
I guess so. Dang, all the second round picks they wasted on him. Like, oh man. Damn. He should have took that back in with the Lakers, bro. That's great.
Bro, they won by almost 50 points, and John Moran only had 9 points, bro. Only played 17 minutes, and they blew him out like that.
That's
damn
crazy.
Warriors cooked. Steph Curry, 2 points. Wow.
That's crazy. They locked them up. That's nuts.
They did.
Wow. Oh, I got another. Oh, the bro hit the Claxton. You saw Claxton? Bro hit the Claxton. Hold on. Bruh. You see what Claxton almost got, like when Claxton got tossed out the game?
No.
He chucked the ball in the air. They called a tech for him chucking the ball randomly in the air into the stands. And then he got pissed and then tried to pick up a chair and almost throw the chair. And they had to stop him from throwing the chair. I'm just like, bro, what is
what is happening? Claxton from Nets? From Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Bruh. Could happen to a franchise. Little brother vibes.
Definitely little brother vibes. Big brother was Big's brother. Yeah, little brother vibe. Little brother. Yeah. And you ain't Kanye. Yeah, you are not Kanye either. Not even myth. Not even myth. Not even. Not even myth bleak. Oh, man. All right. Oh, I got one more. Oh, shout out to Picks for Timmy. God said, thank you for that Picks for Timmy. Last bro pick of the day. Jaden McDaniels thought you had one airball. Crossed over OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby touched Earth for a second. Everyone was like, oh, he touched Earth. Oh, he touched Earth. Tries to pull back for a three. Airball. Missed it by like 50 feet, too. It was horrible. It was horrible. Bruh. It was enjoyable to watch. I'm glad he missed it, though, because OG would have ended up on Sports Center if he hit that. So, OG, you dodged a bullet, brother.
Oh, I do have one more oop pick, and this is a forewarning one. So something for all of us to think about as Net fans, because I think the most likely team that we're going to face in the finals, yes, I'm saying it, is Oklahoma City Thunder. I really encourage all Knicks fans, take the time out of your day. Maybe it's a day where the Knicks don't play. Watch a Thunder game and watch their damn defense. That shit is on a string. It might be the best defensive team I maybe have ever seen in my entire life. They play such high intensity, nonstop movement on the defensive end. They crowd, they blitz, they double, they hedge with extreme intensity and hierarchy awareness. And I hate to say this, Isaiah Hartenstein is really the backbone of it. Their perimeter defense combined with iHeart's rim protection, it's damn near impossible to score on them. The only way to really beat them is to outscore them. And that's where I think we have an advantage, that their offense is so one-dimensional dependent. I don't mean one-dimensional as a slight, but it so much is built upon SGA's ability to get downhill. The Knicks were that last year with Brunson, but now it's more diversified. And I think even when Chet comes back, because they have the best record in the NBA, and Chet and iHeart have not shared a single minute on the court together. That's also insane. But even with Chet, I still think the Knicks have more firepower in OKC, but I really implore all Knicks fans, watch OKC and watch how incredibly stifling their defense is. They won again tonight. No surprise. They beat Orlando 105-99. Holding a team under 100 is not an easy thing to do, even when the stars are out like Orlando. Man, that's incredible. And they were able to score over 100 points on Orlando, who's a top 4 defensive team in the NBA.
Yeah, they were crazy defensively last year, too. I remember it was
even better this year. Everyone's moved up a step. Caruso is not
Caruso
shooting well and not scoring well. He's a demon on defense for them, bro. Demon.
Yeah. Adding Caruso and iHeart defensively in the offseason. That's scary.
I'm really happy and again, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm very happy we don't have Julius Randle on the team right now, because they would eat him alive. Every time he stopped and put the ball up, someone's going to deflect that. Someone's going to knock it out of his hands. They're going to double him and crowd him into a turnover. They're going to force him into a baseline, do a spin move. He is so predictable and so easy to scout for. I'm glad that we have more of a ball movement team with guys who make quick decisions.
Yeah, off-ball cutting is going to be the key to that. And like the more we play together and the better we get at that, and it seems like we've taken a step, because this is the best. Today was like the best off-ball cutting I've ever seen this team play.
And they've been good, period. Like, they've been really solid all season at that.
They've been solid all season. Today was like another level. I was like, holy cow. So I can't imagine it getting better. I mean, The only way I can see this say getting better is if it happens for longer stretches. Precious, you know what? Too Precious was in the starting lineup. So, like, even in today's game, I felt like when Deuce and Campaign got in the game, I felt like it was more instinctive. And I felt like the game was just faster when it was in the game too. But I think when Precious plays more games and gets more acclimated to where everything is happening, it will go even another level. But I think Precious just has to play more games. I think that's what it is. Thunder got Felicia. Shout out to Felicia. Says Thunder got beat by the Bucks. Very disappointing in the Cup final.
Yeah, I just responded to it. That's a really good point. But in one game, this is most people agree. In one game, any team can beat any other team, no matter who's better or who's worse. In one game, but a 7-game series, the better team usually almost always wins, and that's where I think OKC their adjustment last season. I mean, Mark Daigneault might be the best in-game and game-to-game adjuster outside of Spoelstra, like, and Pop. He's top 3. He's really brilliant young coach, and their offense is just as complicated and orchestrated as ours is, maybe even more so.
High praise.
Big fan.
Yeah, man. All right, yo, that's the show. Had a good show. We had the game. We had a lot of different topics. We have a celebrity now. Shout out to Lee Escobedo, who's been on putback. And
shout out Ian, man. Ian's a GOAT. It was an honor to share the stage with him, bro.
Shout out to Ian as well.
For journalists, he is the pinnacle, man. He is old school. He's verified, and that's why he's become the most trusted journalist in the toughest market to be trusted. Really, it's hard. New York media, there's so much conjecture. There's so much fake news. To really be a beacon of truth and light and honesty, that's really what makes Ian Bedley special. In all this Knicks for Clits, you've always been able to trust him, and it's really, he's the backbone of SNY as well. Shout out Ian, man. We love you. And he said he wants to come on the show too. So I'm gonna be in the DMs. Make that happen, because we gotta have Ian on the show.
Hell yeah. I mean, I can reach back out to him. I got the inside line in there again.
Hell yeah.
Helps having a KLT member who was in a Bleacher Report and doing putback. That helps a lot. All right.
Let's go.
All right, yo. That's the show, man. Shout out to the chat. Thanks you guys for rocking with us. Y'all crazy. You, man, Knicks fans, y'all are crazy talking Knicks basketball with us at 2 in the damn morning. I appreciate you guys. I definitely appreciate you guys. Love y'all. Love the support. Love the comments. Oh, I want to try something new because I haven't seen other people do this. If you watch the entire show, if you watch to the end of the show, I want y'all to type what emoji should you type in the chat? Something obscure. Type
an emoji.
Put a goat. Is there a goat emoji?
Yeah, I think there is. I used it for Ian when I tweeted.
All right. For those who watch the entire show, put a goat emoji in the chat. All right. you put that not in the chat, in the comment section. All right. Once the show goes off, put that goat in the comment section. All right.
Appreciate you, Felicia.
Alexander. That's the show, though. Thank you guys for watching. Lee, let them know where they can find you, sir.
You know what? I appreciate all the followers, but I'm going to give a shout out to my man who also got a shout out on the put back our main man, the best man on the game, Fritz Alcindor. Ian read his question on the show, so I wanted to give him a shout out. Follow him at Fritz Handles, FritzHandles. Fritz is one of my favorite people in the world. He's an unbelievable mod, great host of his own show, the NBA Economy Show, and a great part, an integral part of a KOT.
Absolutely, love you, Fritz. Man. Fritz is like one of the engines of this thing. So definitely appreciate Fritz. And great question on the putback too, Fritz.
Yes.
Great question. Probably. All right. You can follow us at the KOT Show on Twitter. You can follow us on Instagram as well. We're also on TikTok at the Knick Of Time Show. I'm also on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, all that noise. All right. And we will be back. Next game is Friday, right? Friday.
Is it?
Or is it Saturday?
Tomorrow. Pelicans.
Are we playing the Pelicans tomorrow?
Or is it tomorrow because it's past midnight, so it's actually Saturday?
Oh, okay. Yeah. It might be Saturday. Let me double check that. I believe
Now I
it's
can't tell.
Yeah, Felicia says it's Saturday.
Okay.
Appreciate you, Felicia. All right, so next game Saturday. Christmas is coming early, so definitely be here or be scared for a Knicks game on Saturday. And also, Dexter Henry is coming to the program. That's right. Knicks Raptors. RJ returns to the Garden, and Dexter Henry returns to KOT. So be there or be
Love it.
square. All right. Cool. That is the show. Don't forget, put the goats in the comments. All right. Thank you guys for watching. And as always,
shout out the worldwide west. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
it's the mess up here in these Knicks YouTube streets. That's the show. We out of here. Peace. Into the Knicks verse. Shout out to George.
Shout out George.
York, New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
NYC.
Dope show.